Another film I watched recently was Hearts of Darkness, a filmmaker's apocalypse, the 1991 documentary about the making of 1979's Apocalypse Now. Another film I saw recently was 1991's Hearts of Darkness, a filmmaker's apocalypse, a documentary by Fax Bahr, George Hickenlooper and Eleanor Coppola about Coppola's husband's Apocalypse Now, the 1979 Odyssey adventure drama transposing images of Conrad's Heart of Darkness to Vietnam. The film was mired in endless problems. They planned to film it originally during the Vietnam War itself until George Lucas, who was a planned director, decided that this was a great way of getting everyone killed. Eventually, it was produced in the Philippines in 1976 onwards, and it shot for months and months and months out in the jungle. There were endless production problems. They were isolated from the rest of the world. Actors having to be replaced, actors shooting scenes when drunk or on drugs. The whole situation was a total nightmare, and the film ended up almost becoming an analog for itself, with the search for Colonel Kurtz in the depths of the jungle being almost like Coppola himself, having gone insane on the glut of resources and money, and isolated himself from the rest of the world, trying to make his masterpiece. The film's assembled from on-set footage shot by Eleanor Coppola during the original shooting of the film itself, and new interviews with almost the entire cast and major crew. Marlon Brando, who played Kurtz, declined to participate, but almost everyone else is there. And it paints a fascinating portrait of production in total freefall. Coppola knew what he wanted the film to be, but he wasn't able to properly express that or put it on paper in a way that people understood. And as a result, the film was constantly evolving. Actors wound up having to almost improvise scenes as they went along. Martin Sheen as Willard, the head of the team being sent to assassinate Kurtz, was asked about his character. Who is this character? Who is Willard really? And Coppola has told him simply, Willard is you. This is you. This is your journey into the jungle. As the film increasingly came to simply mirror real life. I found it absolutely fascinating, not just as a story, but the way it was assembled. There's a brilliant use of the on-set footage to illustrate things, and there's a very deft choice of including narration from Orson Welles' radio adaptation of Heart of Darkness from the late 1930s, used almost as a kind of dream narration to illustrate and throw into relief what we're seeing, that the story of the film is the story of the making of the film, that, as I say, Coppola became Kurtz, that Willard and Martin Sheen are ultimately the same person. It's a fascinating film, very engaging. Interesting to see the way people cope with these kinds of crises. When sets were destroyed by a typhoon, Coppola decided that the solution was to start making pasta for everybody. When Martin Sheen had a massive heart attack that almost killed him, they simply carried on shooting without him for as long as they could. And then when Sheen eventually returned to the set, having rested and recuperated and was now comparatively fit and healthy, Coppola told him that he simply looked too healthy now to play the character. It's a really interesting story, a clash of all these personalities, of all these convictions, of all these ideas. Coppola attempting desperately to try and express the concepts in his mind through film, through language, in a way that he really struggles to fully articulate. Whole chunks of the movie wound up being removed from the finished version. A whole sequence where the boat crew visit a French plantation, as intended to mirror a journey back through time, back to Vietnam's position as a French colony, before it reaches the Stone Age of Kurtz's encampment. That segment was gone from the finished production, and when this film was released in 1991, it had never been seen publicly. It's a fascinating film, very entertaining, very interesting, and it shows what can go wrong when, as Coppola himself said they had too much money, too many resources, and gradually went insane.